Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Nicole, and I'm joined by Christine, who is an author, counselor, advanced EFT practitioner, and she's also a facilitator and trainer for the Seasons for Growth program with Good Grief. Thanks for your time today, Christine.
Hi, Nicole. It's a pleasure to be here as always.
Thanks for coming back. A lady of many talents. So can you tell us about Good Grief? What is Good Grief? I think a lot of people may not have heard of it. However, it's very relevant in this day and age.
Yeah, isn't it ever? That's right. There's so much grief and loss happening, but it's also just change in general, change in life, which is normal. But we'll get to that in a little bit. So Good Grief is really a program of McKillop Family Services.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been developed because the notion of Mary McKillop says, never see a need without trying to do something about it.
Love that. And I'm for that.
Yes, I want to say though, this program is not non-religious or,
Yep.
or it is non-denominational. So it's really for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been developed to, what they found was that children that have dealt with or experienced change and loss haven't really had much opportunity to process what's been going on for them. Often when families experience grief and loss, the parents deal with so much themselves that it's hard for them to be fully available for their kids.
Yeah.
And also, as soon as you mention grief and loss, everyone clams up. It's like, it's a hard subject. How do I deal with it? What do I say? What do I not say? And all of that. So I've been facilitating this program now since 2007. And I'm really, really passionate about that program.
Mm-hmm. So what does it involve? What does Seasons for Growth do? How does it help people?
Okay, so Seasons for Growth, it's been offered in schools because they found kids go to school. This is where they can get them together. And a really most important part is that it's not a therapy, and we're not processing the grief itself. It's an education program. So it's an education program that looks at what happens to me when I experience grief and loss, and how does it affect me? So we look more at what's happening to when this change is in my life, and what can I do when this happens? So it's really empowering people.
Yeah. Is it available in all schools? It kind of should be.
It is broadening. So when I started, I was only aware of being offered in Catholic schools. But now that I'm in the trainer role too, there's so many public schools now too. I train lots of school counselors with this program as well. So it is really rippling out, and it is offered also in some agencies. They offer Seasons for Growth. And the beauty also is what they found, because for the children it's been available for a long time, but then they saw the need for adults as well. So when parents are dealing with grief and loss, how do I support my child as well in that grief, but mainly reflecting on self? How can I support myself, and what can I do to care for my grief?
We aren't really given those tools, which is often why we don't teach those tools, because it's almost a missing piece of the puzzle. But with everything that's been happening with the floods, and before that the fires, and throughout it all, the pandemic, there's been a lot of grief, a lot of loss, and I know that you were up north not long ago to help out there. Did you want to share a little bit about what you were doing there?
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that. Good Grief saw that as well as a huge need. So they developed another program. It is very much based on Seasons for Growth. So Seasons for Growth uses the metaphor of seasons. So how seasons change and how we adapt to that change too. When it's summer, we got to adapt to it. Winter is very different. So it uses the seasons as a metaphor for change and normalizing change. Change happens all around us and is everywhere, and we cope with it, and noticing that too. It is a normal thing and we quite adapt. And any change and loss we can deal with. So when the bushfires happened and other really big natural events and disasters, they saw a need for those communities to help them as well, because that grief and loss, what they lost, it was huge. So they've got another program that's called Stormbirds. And they use the stormbird, which is the eastern coal that is said to forewarn of big storms. So they make a lot of racket and a lot of noise, and when there's huge catastrophic events, they fly away. But then when it's all over, they come back and they adapt, and so they use that stormbird as a metaphor in that program. So they really rolling that out in those areas where they have experienced those traumas. So I've been in Lismore last Easter, so it's nearly a year now that happened. And seeing what's been going on there was huge. But also, this program is really, to me, brings hope. It puts people into being powerful, like I can, into that. Sometimes we are, if only this didn't happen, and oh my God, this, that what if state, and that really shrinks us and makes us not really, it makes us feel helpless and hopeless. Whereas if we can look at, okay, what am I dealing with right now? What's happening to me? What am I feeling? And this is part of my love as well, with coming back to feelings as a EFT practitioner. That is what I do. This is my life work. So Seasons for Growth really ties in so well with all of that too, because it teaches people that deal with grief and loss to actually tune in with what's happening. How do we feel? And how can I care for my feeling? What can I do to care for myself? And that is the most important message in this program as well. And we don't go there either. It's like emotions, and especially challenging ones, we either push them away or we do it very silently inwards. And it's going on in here, but we don't let anybody know. And that can be very isolating. And it can keep us very stuck in that. And it feels like, there's nothing I can do about it. It's again this, I'm here. So this program, the most important part is that we facilitate this program in groups. Exactly for that reason, that we can see, I'm not the only one. When this happens, this is a normal thing. People feel this way, and it's okay to feel. It's to accept that feeling. And once we can talk about that, and the interesting thing is too, when we look at children with grief, because they don't have the emotional literacy yet either to express what's going on. So what we notice there is their behavior. And they don't understand why they blow up at a drop of a hat. When there is big grief and loss too, or when they experience trauma with that too, what can happen is that they regress in their development too. So they might start bedwetting again, or like have nightmares and things like that, or get really clingy, or others. Some can be withdrawn, and others the opposite and can really blow up about things.
Yeah.
And then it's not recognized that it's actually what's behind it is grief.
Mm.
And grief, when we say grief, people think, oh, somebody died.
Mm. Yeah.
Loss, we grieve loss.
Mm.
Whatever change we're dealing with every change, there is a loss of something.
Yeah.
We leave something behind.
Yeah.
And with every loss, there is a secondary loss as well. Like
Mm.
if I lose, if I move away from my old home, I'm not only losing the place that I've lived in,
Mm-hmm.
I also lose all the connections I had in the community. I
Yeah.
lose my favorite tree that I used to go to. I lose,
Yeah.
there's so many different things that are connected. And
Mm-hmm.
when we really open up and look at what we have lost, and this is the opportunity in these programs, we
Mm.
actually look at what's happening for me. What
Mm-hmm.
have I lost and how is that affecting me?
Mm. Yeah. So that could be like a couple of things that come to mind is definitely, moving house, losing a friendship or that a friendship changing,
Yes,
even a job. And obviously, death is a huge loss. But even throughout the pandemic, we lost connection. We lost
yes,
the ability to socialize, to see people face to face,
yes,
hug people. That is something that we all went through. And I
yeah,
really don't think that people have processed that. We haven't been able to,
no,
process that, which is why you do see people behaving maybe the way that they wouldn't normally. And, especially kids, they're quite open with their emotions, whether they're outward
yes,
focusing or inward. But yeah, as adults, we just handle things differently. But if something's not quite right and we're behaving a little different, it can be because of all of those things. So the program sounds like it's about normalizing and understanding grief
yes,
and how to process it.
that's right.
Yeah.
So when young people, children and young people actually, when it clicks, when they see, my behavior is connected to what I'm feeling, it's you can really see the penny drop.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually gives them then the tools. I can do something about it. They have some beautiful songs that go with it too. So it's one song is about I'm boss of all my feelings, I'm boss of all I do, I'm boss of how my feelings show and what I say to you. So it also talks about choice. We have a choice.
Yeah.
When we're here in this moment, we have a choice what we do with this feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So it really empowers them to understand it, first of all, and to acknowledge it, but then gives them also the tools. Okay, now I could do this. So we talk about what's your support network?
Mm.
What are the places you go to where you feel really good? Who are the people that you can be with
Mm-hmm.
that can help you with different things? What are activities that you really enjoy that lift you up and enjoy, make you enjoy things?
Mm.
And with the Stormbird also we look at, okay, how can I help? What can I do to help in the community? Because what's been taken away is that we had no say in it,
Mm-hmm.
that it just came with us choosing that,
Yeah.
but that we can do something. And as soon as we give and connect, it's that connecting with people that's so important, that we don't do it by ourselves.
Yeah.
Mm,
And you really saw that in the Lismore floods. Like
yes.
so many people lost so much, but the way the community, not only the local community, but the entire Australian community, if not wider, pulled together to, like, they were turning items away because they were so overwhelmed with, replacement items. And it was just really heartwarming to see what
Yeah,
Australians can do to support each other. And I think that's probably just a really big
that
example of that
was,
community connection. But yeah,
yeah,
it is great to see how people can come together and what
it
change
really,
can make. Yeah,
yeah, really brought humanity back again too, didn't it?
it did.
It was really heartwarming to see. What I've also noticed in these communities, what's really important is for them to be able to share, just to be seen and heard and be witnessed with what was been happening. A trainer that we have in New Zealand, where they had the earthquakes, was saying they brought in companions. They call the facilitators companions, because we're not really up here and teaching, we accompanying the group, and we with them. And she was saying they brought in companions from outside the area, because often what happens is the people that are in that area, they traumatized by it as well. So it was really lovely that other people came from the outside. And what she was saying was, the nice thing about that was that the children were listened to with a new ear, if you like. The companions, when they experienced it themselves, said, yeah, I know, this is what happened to me too. You know, it's like not making it less valid, but to be really seen and heard and acknowledged for what you go through, and not me too kind of thing, you know. And that is the main thing too. And I can only really invite people. I know it feels awkward when I wasn't familiar with all of this either. I avoided talking to people about grief. I had a good friend that has lost 2 children. First her son in an accident, and then a few years later her daughter in an accident. And I never really wanted to, when it was happening and it was very fresh, yes, of course, I was there for her and we talked about it. But as time went on, I never really touched on that subject anymore. And it was interesting what she said to me. She said to me, because I asked her one day, and she said, what's really sad is when nobody talks about my children to me anymore that passed away, it's like that everybody forgotten about them. Yeah. Whereas the people that have lost someone, she says, I think of them every single day. Yeah. So to connect, you can't do any harm. Like a lot of people that train newly in that program too, they're a bit nervous to facilitate it because they're, what if I say the wrong thing? You can't. Yeah. They feel whatever they're feeling at that time, and it might be pain, it might be moved on. And the thing is too, grief is not linear. It's not, I start here and now I'm finished with grief. Often we get triggered again, and sometimes it's more like a circle, you know. It's more like, today and this is the beauty calling it seasons for growth as well, because they put the seasons with the different, it's all very much based on research, and it is based on William Worden's grief tasks, his grief and loss theory. And what I love about that is that there are tasks for us to do, that it again empowers us. We're not powerless and demobilized by grief. But so the first task is to acknowledge what has been lost. So in the program, we do that in autumn, when we talk about, fall and the leaves are falling and we notice the change in the season. Yeah. And then we need to really feel the pain. Sometimes we want to run away from that, but as soon as we feel it and acknowledge that, we can do something about it, and we can help with that. So that's in winter. We use winter as a metaphor for that part. And then in spring, that's when we look at, okay, what can we do? And it brings in hope again. What can we do to move forward? And in summer, we really open the doors. We look at the networks. Who can be there for me and who can I be there for? And that community spirit. And also not forgetting, or we also talk about memories, to hold on to our beautiful memories that we have. Because whatever we experienced is part of us, and it's who we are and what we're made of. So to honor that and bring us to move forward.
Mm.
So this is,
Yeah.
it's really beautiful program that's been put together.
Yeah, it does. It sounds wonderful and necessary in so many places. So
Yeah.
for the people who are listening that want to know more about the program and the organization, what's the best way to either get in touch with you or find out more?
Okay, there's the website called Good Grief.
Mm-hmm.
They also got lovely information there as well, like fact sheets about different things and about the programs as well and what's available.
Mm-hmm.
And check in, if you've got children, check in schools. So they run those programs for kids that have lost somebody that's been close to them,
Mm-hmm.
or also kids that live in separated families, because kids often experience a loss in those circumstances as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, check with your school. If the school is not offering it, ask, can it be offered? Because the training is available for people in schools. But there are also outside agencies
Mm-hmm.
that offer that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, or parishes. So there's different areas that offer this program.
I might grab some of those links and add them to the bottom of the video for people so they can
Beautiful.
jump on. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. That's so cool.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say a huge thank you, Christine, for coming on again and for sharing some of your wisdom and the amazing work that you're doing. I really appreciate it. And I know that you're changing lives and this will help a lot of people. So thank you so much.
Lovely. Thank you. Have a great one.
You too.